And we are back for game number 2 of the final match here for Group F of the FX Open Invitational Series. I am Unstable, joined here by Railcoon. We're going to go into it with QuanticTheStC up against Slayer's Crank on Entombed Valley for game number 2. STC currently up 1-0 in this series with some nice early aggression and then defense of the counterattack. So let's get into it. We have, of course, QuanticTheStC down here at the bottom right as our red Terran. And then up here at the top right, we have our pink Protoss playing today is Slayer's Crank. So, let's see. Oh, there we go. Let's see how this goes. Shall we, Railcoon?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit tilted right now that a somewhat famous strategy just worked in that last game. I shall not give it a name, but I do not have to give it a name. And honestly, that's one of the things that could put Crank on tilt as well. But we see Crank putting his buildings in that position that he used on this map before for the really aggressive 3-gate. So, you think he'll do it?
Yeah, it's
Maybe
quite
4-gate,
possible.
3-gate? You don't see it as much versus the Terrans these days, but it's still possible.
Well, the 3-gate pressure is actually quite effective against any kind of greedy 1-gate expand. If the Terran decides to cut any corners whatsoever, you just pretty much outright kill them. And that's something the STC does quite a bit. He does go for that 1-gate, that 1-rax expand into this. So it'll be very interesting to say the least to see which kind of build order we do. But when we saw Crank do this kind of building positioning last time, it was for that 3 gateway pressure.
Yeah, because he actually can't fit a 4th gateway back there. I guess it'll depend on where he puts that second pylon, because that was the big tell last time, is he put the second pylon back there as well. So watching him, because he's at 16, which is generally where you see that extra pylon going down, but he's pushing it a little bit, waiting till 17, drops the other one a little bit farther away. Is there actually enough room to put another gateway back there? I don't think there's enough power back there. So we shall see how many gateways occur. We're getting up close to that probe count where he would be dropping the extra ones, but he is actually just getting out a quick stalker instead, so it doesn't look like he's going for that super aggressive 3-gate pressure.
Yeah, well, we do see the command center on the high ground here by the STC, and nothing. We do see where is that probe rallied to? Okay. Yeah. Well, the SCV for the STC is actually coming in here now. Justice noticed that stalker, sees where the building placement is, so he's like, okay, can calm down a little bit now. However, there's 200 minerals banked up here for Crank. He might actually just be going for an expand regardless.
Yeah, and seeing the building positioning immediately made SCC drop a bunker. It's like, oh, hi. So he's got that pretty well placed at the top of his ramp, but these two are still chattering about, I have no idea what. 2 more gateways on the way from Crank. These are a little bit delayed, but again, like we were saying earlier, a expansion or a late 3-4 gate attack can still catch people off guard if they try to be too greedy. But it looks like he's got the probe in the position like he wants to expand. I don't know if that was like to fake out the SCV and he just didn't pull the probe back yet or not.
Yeah, that's very true. Either way, we've got the extra 2 barracks coming up now for the STC.
No, it looks like he's actually going to drop the Nexus now, so...
Well, yeah, usually you go to the Nexus and then go and put pressure on, so like you're technically defending your Nexus while you actually push forward. A second bunker going down now for the STC. He hasn't actually moved his command center down yet. However, he is bringing some SCVs just to sit here, just in case that Crank wants to push forward here.
Yeah, he morphs into the orbital command, so if he wants, he can call down the mule before he lifts it off. But it looks like he's also going to create a few extra SCVs out of it, just playing really safe. Seems to have a read on Crank just because of that building placement. And you see Crank going for the run-by with the Stalkers again. What is this, the 3rd time we've seen him do this today?
Yeah, but now he's stuck here. With the pylon on the low ground is actually going to work out really well for Crank, but the STC having that command center on the high ground is really beneficial for him now. It means he's not really going to take much damage from this at all. And these Stalkers are stuck, so Crank either has the choice of warping units into the high ground and then trying to bust through these bunkers, or just sitting there and eventually going to be crushed when the extra units come out here for the STC, which is going to happen in a second here.
Yeah, this is really just quite literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. If he commits more units to this and then doesn't succeed in breaking his way out, then he's screwed. And if he sits here and doesn't do anything, then he's screwed. So it's a really, really tough decision, but I gotta say, sitting here and doing nothing seems like the worst action, like, because you're just kind of giving up at that point.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's gonna try and sneak by the bunkers. We'll be able to get most of the stalkers out, but he will unload to catch another one with that concussive shells. Nicely done, but at least Crank got 3 of the stalkers away. I do like that play much better. At least make an attempt to get out. And he got 3 stalkers out. That could have been way, way worse.
Yeah, exactly. That was probably the best case scenario there for Crank after he got himself in that position. He really expected the command center to be there and get a few shots off and draw the Marines out. But now STC is going to be in a good position here. He's got Stim just started research. Factory is finishing up in a second. However, we do have the robotics facility already done and robotics bay on the way for Crank. So he's going to go straight into that Colossi production. But the STC is moving out. He does have that time, remember, where he used effectively in the first set of this series, where
He seems a little greedy to go straight into the Colossus this fast, not really make anything out of the robotics. His army's kind of low because of that little play he made in the natural. I mean, there's not a lot of units. He doesn't even have a sentry out. Going for the Colossus this fast seems really, really risky.
Well, there's those extra 3 zealots. I was worried for him for a second there, but with the extra 3 zealots, he will be able to keep things alive. And it looks like STC is just going to check for that third base, but there's that Colossus before the range even is coming out. So this is going to be very interesting. Is he going to push out across the map here with that 1-2 Colossus? Okay. I've seen builds like that before, but they haven't really been all that effective recently.
Well, oh, look at this. STC is going to use the units to break open the destructible rocks up here in this middle base. So that kind of play generally means that STC is actually looking to go for the later game, because what he's really doing is just making this base accessible, making sure that Crank can't really try and expand into this later. Or it could be that he wants to Planetary Fortress this later on in the game, which would be his 4th base. So either way, he is looking towards much later in the game. He's got Medivacs on the way as well. Stimpak's close to finishing. He has upgrades once again, and Crank is actually skimping on the upgrades again, which, like we talked about previously, are really important in this matchup and could have been one of the things that really led to his downfall in the previous game. So he really needs, even though he tried to get this really quick Colossus out, he's going to want to follow that up with the range, but he's got to try and find a way to get a forge and at least one upgrade rolling into this build, or else he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble in the mid game.
Yeah, well, we do see both these guys actually going their separate ways. STC is... Oh! Crank has noticed this up here, and look at this, the STC is going to see the pylons. Just takes that Colossus shot on the chin and goes, no, I'm going to scout you anyway. But now the STC, he actually salvaged his bunkers, already got Vikings on the way though.
Oh, the factory's going to go down though, so he's not going to be able to drop a second starport if that's really what he wants. We'll have to rebuild it, but STC actually moves forward with his army to force him off the factory. Nice play. Now we see both armies dancing with each other a little bit.
Oh, he's going to get the Colossi! Oh my god, he almost got the second one too. Is he actually going to get it? Yeah, no, just barely doesn't.
So close. But that Colossus doesn't have range, so if it comes into fire, that one Marauder shot will kill it.
Yeah.
So he has to be really, really careful. Now the Vikings are out. It's so dead. One Viking shot. That's it. And boom.
Yeah, this thing's not looking good for Crank now. He's only got Stalkers left, but there's a whole heap of Marauders here, and SCVs in the mix as well, dropping those Vikings to land as well. And
+1 is done as well, and that's really helping him power through these Stalkers. The Stalkers are surviving, but this is not a battle that's really good for Crank, because if this stalls out and reinforcements keep pouring in, this +1 is only going to help. Really long, protracted battles like this make the upgrades better, because he's just powering right through these Stalkers now that fresh Marauders have come out. So a good job of microing the Marauders in and out of the Medivacs as well to try and get some more healing off. SCC just completely outplaying Crank in that engagement.
Yeah, I think this does not look good at all. He's got the reinforcements, so he's got the upgrade advantage. Without that range, like you were saying, those Colossi were just torn apart. And looking at the army supplies, it is one army supplied at 45. I think we're just going to see him walk across the map now. I think Crank might even GG in a second, because there's nothing he can do to stop this army. And yeah, there it is, GG. So the STC will advance into the round of 32 for the FX Open Invitational Series. Congratulations to him. A big thanks to Crank for playing as well. He showed us some really good games, this group. But I believe that is it for the day for us, if I recall correctly. We've gone through 3 groups today. And we are going to be right back tomorrow at the same time for groups G and H to wind out our entire opening weekend. Hopefully, you guys all enjoyed it. If you have any feedback, feel free to put it in the threads or send it through to us. But we'll see. We'll bid you adieu for this entire day. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll go into a rebroadcast right now for those people who missed the first games. But other than that, see you later.